Let's do it.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the past tense in English.
And it's fascinating how we mostly use it without thinking, but the different forms, they carry subtle but really significant weight. Understanding those little differences helps us communicate not just what happened, but also the kind of the texture and the exact timing of past events much more clearly.
Right, precision. And we've pulled together some resources that really unpack these different forms. Our goal today isn't just memorizing rules.
No, definitely not.
We want you to really get a feel for when to use each tense. So you can, talk and write about the past confidently without that little nagging feeling like, am I saying this right?
It's really about unlocking a deeper understanding of how we build stories in time using language.
Okay, let's start with the foundation, the simple past. This is probably the one we use the most for talking about completed actions. It's really the backbone of storytelling.
Precisely. The simple past just tells you an action finished at some point in the past. The focus is that it's done. Completed.
For regular verbs, it's usually pretty simple. You just add ed, like walked, played, laughed. Easy enough. But then you get the irregular verbs, those kind of linguistic curveballs that don't play by the rules.
Right, the rebels. They often have roots way back in older forms of English. And yeah, they might seem random, but they're just part of the language's history,
Like go becoming went. It's a totally different word.
Exactly. Or take changes to took, see becomes saw. You just have to learn them.
They're like the language's quirky ancestors doing their own thing. So you say, I walked to the store this morning. Simple, completed action.
Done. Finished.
Or she played the piano beautifully last night.
Yeah.
And a classic, he ate all the cookies.
And notice how each one is just like a self-contained event in the past.
Yeah.
There's a clear sense of finality. It happened. It's over.
Okay, so that's the basic snapshot. Now let's add maybe some dimension. With the past continuous.
Ah, yes.
This tense isn't just about what happened, but what was happening. Like in progress at a specific time. It kind of sets the scene.
Yeah, the past continuous shifts the focus to the ongoing nature of an action. It often gives you context or describes something that was happening when something else happened.
It's like freezing a moment in motion almost. The structure is or were plus the verb ending in ig.
Right.
So instead of just the phone rang, which is simple past,
completed action.
You could say, I was having dinner when the phone rang. See? The was having paints that picture of what was going on at that moment.
What? Exactly. Or they were talking when I entered the room. The past continuous gives that feeling of an activity unfolding. And what's interesting is it can suggest duration, too, even if you don't say for how long, like, I was waiting.
Right. It implies you were there for a bit. It adds that layer of detail, slows down the narrative just a touch. Okay, now let's go even further back in time with the past perfect.
The time traveler tense.
Yeah. This one's key for showing that one past action happened before another past action. It helps you set up a clear timeline, all within the past.
Absolutely essential for sequence. It removes any doubt about which thing came first.
The structure here is had plus the past participle. Now, for regular verbs, the past participle is often the same as the simple past ed form.
But watch out for those irregulars again. They have their own past participles like gone, taken, seen.
Right. So you might say, I had finished reading the article before discussion started. Finishing the article happened first.
Clearly before the discussion. Or maybe she had already left by the time we arrived. Her leaving happened earlier.
It's like you're saying, okay, there were two things in the past. This first thing, it was already done when the second thing happened. It nails down that beforeness.
Precisely. You could just say, I finished the article and then we discussed it, and the order is implied.
Yeah, but it's not as explicit.
Exactly. The past perfect makes that sequence undeniable. It locks it in.
Okay, makes sense. And now for the last one we're covering, past perfect continuous. This sounds a bit more complex, maybe.
It can seem that way, but it's really logical.
It tells us not just that something happened before something else, but for how long it had been going on. It adds that sense of duration leading up to that other past event.
Yeah, it emphasizes the length of an activity that was happening before another point in the past. It often helps explain, the context or maybe the result of that long action.
Okay, the structure is had been plus the verb ending in E. So an example, I had been studying for hours before I finally took the test. It highlights that long stretch of studying.
Perfect example. Or they had been working on the project for weeks when they finally presented it. The focus is on the duration, the weeks of work.
And you see how it often leads into that next event, The studying leads to the test. The working leads to the presentation.
Exactly. That duration often explains something about the subsequent event. It shows the process leading up to that moment.
So it's like saying, okay, this thing, it had been happening for a while.
Yeah.
And then this other thing occurred. Really emphasizes the buildup.
It adds that extra layer of detail about the process over time before the specific point in the past.
All right. So those are our 4 main past tenses. Simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Now the big question, how do you choose? Let's try a quick practical guide.
Yeah, a little cheat sheet. This is where it all comes together for actually communicating.
Okay, simple past, use it for single, completed actions. Boom, done. I sent the email.
Finished event.
Yeah.
Clear past point.
Past continuous. Use it for actions that were in progress at a specific past time, or maybe background stuff. I was sending the email when the power went out.
Right. Sets the scene, or describes an ongoing action that got interrupted, maybe. That word when often pops up there.
Good point. Okay, past perfect. Use this for an action completed before another past action.
Yeah.
Order matters. I had already sent the email before you asked me to.
Establishes that clear before. First this, then that.
And finally, past perfect continuous. Use this to stress the duration of an action that happened before another past event. I had been trying to send the email all morning before it finally went through. Focus on the how long.
Exactly. Highlights the process, the duration, the effort leading up to that past point.
Okay, hopefully that helps clarify things a bit. Maybe let's do a really quick check. Put it to the test.
Good idea. Active recall helps lock it in.
All right, first one. Just fill in the blank. Yesterday, I go to the museum. Simple completed action yesterday. What's the past of go?
That's a classic irregular, a simple past needed here.
And the answer is hands. Yesterday, I went to the museum.
Nice. Okay, next. She practiced the violin when her friend arrived. What was she doing when her friend arrived?
Okay, something was in progress.
So we need the past continuous. The answer is she was practicing. She was practicing the violin when her friend arrived. Excellent. Number 3, they finished the presentation before the meeting started. 2 past actions, 1 happened earlier.
The finishing happened before the meeting started, so we need that before tense.
Which is the past perfect.
Yeah.
So the answer is had finished. They had finished their presentation before the meeting started. Great. Last one. He waited for an hour before the bus finally came, stressing how long he waited.
Oh, the duration before the bus came. That calls for...
The past perfect continuous.
Right.
And the answer is had been waiting. He had been waiting for an hour before the bus finally came. Fantastic. You nailed all 4.
Seems like he's got a good handle on the core functions. So, you see, the past tense isn't just, some dry grammar rule. It's woven into how we talk about time, how we tell stories, how we connect our experiences.
It's absolutely fundamental, not just for being correct, but for really conveying the precise meaning and the flow of events when you talk about the past.
Yeah, whether you're writing something, telling a friend about your weekend, even just thinking through your day. Getting these tenses right is what's a communication superpower, really.
It allows for so much more clarity and nuance and just a richer way of sharing experiences and understanding how things unfolded.
So here's something to maybe think about. How does your choice of tense actually change how someone feels about what happened? Like subtly shapes their perception.
Ooh, interesting point.
For instance, what's the subtle difference in feeling between saying the rain fell versus the rain was falling?
Right. The simple past just states a fact. The rain fell. Okay. But the rain was falling.
Yeah, it feels different, right? Maybe it draws more attention to the atmosphere, the duration of the moment.
It definitely does. It puts you more in the moment. So the choice isn't just grammar. It's also about emphasis, about the impact you want to make, consciously or unconsciously.
Exactly. So keep paying attention to how these tenses pop up, when you're reading or listening and when you're speaking or writing yourself. Becoming aware is how you really master the art of talking about the past.
Well said. And just remember, every time you talk about something that happened, you're using these building blocks. So keep practicing, keep noticing, and your understanding and fluency will just keep getting deeper.